Okay, so moving on to the AP question, it says, each person in a random sample of 1,026 adults in the U.S. were asked the following question. Based on what you know about the Social Security system today, what would you like Congress and the President to do during the next year? Then they list the 5 response choices and the percentages that were received. So for part A, they're asking us to find the 95% confidence interval, interpret it, and then interpret the confidence level. So whenever you see a confidence interval in a question, you should think pants, and that is the easiest way to go about this. So for P, the parameter of interest is the proportion of U.S. adults who responded they would make some major changes to the question. Moving on to A is our assumptions. So NP is 1,026 times 0.39, which equals 400.14, which is greater than or equal to 10. Then the QP is 1,026 times 0.61, which equals 625.86, which is also greater than or equal to 10. Then, just as the population in general, we do 1,026 times 10, which equals 10,260, and there are more than 10,260 adults in the U.S. So the problems already states that the sample is randomly selected, so that checks off one of the assumptions. And from the math above, we know that the sample is both large enough and small enough. So for N, we're naming the test that we're going to use. So it's the 1 proportion Z interval, and that is X bar plus or minus Z star times the square root of PQ over N. So now for the T, we're just plugging in the numbers. So it translates to 0.39 plus or minus 1.96 times the square root of 0.39 times 0.61 all over 1,026. And when you do that in the calculator, your answer is 0.3601 and 0.4198. So then the S, which is our statement, and that basically wraps everything together. We can be 95% confident the true proportion of U.S. adults who would respond they'll make major changes to the question is between 0.3601 to 0.4198. The 95% confidence level just simply means if we did multiple confidence intervals, 95% of them would have the true proportion. So moving on to part B, basically an advocate for leaving the system as it is now commented, based on the poll, only 39% of adults in the sample responded that they want some major changes made to the system, while 41% responded that they only want minor changes or no changes at all. Therefore, we should not change the system. So we have to explain why the statement, while technically correct, is misleading. So it's a little clear of why it's misleading, but the statement is misleading because it ignores the 19% of adults who want to completely overhaul the system. When this is combined with the 39% who want to make major changes, it becomes 58%. And when you compare the 58% to 41%, it makes the conclusion that we should change the system, which is the opposite conclusion.